Are you a vegetarian but really miss the taste of meat? Then this is the show for you. Welcome to Vegetarian Cooking for Carnivores. Welcome to Vegetarian Cooking for Carnivores, a meat lover's guide to fabulous vegetarian cooking. I'm Bonnie Antonini, and like many of you, I grew up in a typical meat and potatoes household, often having some sort of meat 3 times a day. But when I decided to become a vegetarian, I resigned myself to a life of omelets, salads, rice and beans. Good, but it got kind of boring after a while. I got my hopes up when I heard about tofu hot dogs, but unfortunately the brand that I randomly picked in the store was horrible. I threw them out and didn't bother to try any other brands. I figured they were all the same. Then a friend of mine who grew up in a vegetarian household insisted I try Lingette's brand of imitation hot dogs. They were fabulous. My kids loved them, even my husband liked them. I looked around and found a whole world of imitation products out there that I didn't even know existed. And they're getting better all the time. Whether you're a vegetarian for health or humanitarian reasons, you're more likely to remain a vegetarian if you enjoy your food and don't feel like you're sacrificing. The important thing to remember about using imitation products is that they're not all the same. They have different tastes and different consistencies. You may love one imitation bacon product, but you may hate another. The key is to try different products and find which works for you, and don't give up. I'll always tell you the exact product that I use, but it's merely a suggestion and a starting off point for those of you new to using imitation products. But if you have another product you prefer, by all means substitute. One thing you'll get to know about me is that when I make something that freezes well, I make a lot of it and then freeze it in dinner-sized portions for future use. It's not that much more trouble to make multiple batches at once. I only have to cook once, and more importantly, I only have to clean once. So on those busy days when I don't have the time or energy to cook, my family can still have a home-cooked meal. I would highly recommend, if you have the room, in investing in a deep freezer. I keep mine in the garage. It's filled with frozen meals, juice that I squeezed from our grapefruit tree, grain products and flour that I buy when it's on sale, the salesman that rang the doorbell and woke the baby after it took me 2 hours to get him to sleep. I watch too much Dexter. But seriously, if you can swing it, invest in a deep freezer. So today I'm going to make 6 times the recipe of spaghetti meat sauce. Don't worry about writing down the recipe now. I'll have it printed at the end of the video where you can push pause and copy it then. For now, just watch and listen. If you plan on making a lot of spaghetti meat sauce like I am, you'll need a large stock pot. But if you only plan on making 1 batch, a Dutch oven will do. One of the advantages to using imitation ground beef is that I don't have to brown the meat ahead of time and then drain off the fat. I'm just going to throw all my ingredients together in the stock pot and then cook it. What could be easier? The imitation product I like to use for this recipe is by Morningstar Products. It's called Meal Starters Veggie Crumbles. In my store, they keep it in the regular frozen food section, not the natural food section. It looks like the real thing. I use 6 bags of the imitation ground beef. Next, I'm going to add 2 cups of extra virgin olive oil, 3 cups of vegetable stock. You can buy it or do like I do and make your own. If you like, you can find my recipe for vegetable stock in episode 7 of Vegetarian Cooking for Carnivores. Next, 2 tablespoons of pressed garlic, 3 tablespoons each of dried oregano, dried basil, and salt, and then 6 bay leaves. 4 6-ounce cans of tomato paste, 4 28-ounce cans of whole peeled tomatoes. I like to slice off and discard the stem end, remove any remaining peel, and cut off any imperfections in the tomato. Now, if you don't have a food processor, just put the tomatoes in a bowl and then with 2 knives cross-cut. But if you do have a food processor, go ahead and pulse it about 4 or 5 times. Now I just add this to the spaghetti sauce. And the last ingredient is optional, but is a nice addition, and that's a bottle of red wine. I know a whole bottle sounds like a lot, but really, I'm making 6 batches of the spaghetti sauce, so that only comes to half a cup per batch. That's not too much. A rule of thumb when you're cooking with wine is to choose a wine that you would actually drink, because it's going to affect the flavor of the sauce. You don't have to spend a fortune on an expensive bottle of wine. You can find a reasonably priced, good-tasting wine. I got this wine at Trader Joe's for $5.99. It's a Cabernet by Black Mountain, 2010. Now I'm just going to take the stock pot over to the stove and over a medium-high heat, bring the sauce up to a full boil. Once the sauce is at a full boil, turn down the heat to keep it at a simmer and cook it uncovered for about an hour. Again, just give it a swirl every now and then to keep the flavors blended and to prevent scorching. The spaghetti sauce is done, and the first thing I'm going to do is fish out and discard the 6 bay leaves before I forget. I now have enough spaghetti sauce to last my family for the next few months. And now for the best part, dinner, and I'm starving. We're having, of course, spaghetti with meat sauce, steamed broccoli, garlic bread, a green salad, and a fruited yogurt shake. I'm Bonnie Antonini, and we'll see you next time on Vegetarian Cooking for Carnivores.